So I'm gonna, let's get my notes.
You're now live, Councillor Foote.
Sorry? We're live now, are we? Yeah.
Actually, Councillor, we don't have
Kenise.
Kenise.
No, I've just noticed.
She sent a message. Hello, Bill.
Yes. Yeah, she's typing.
Who?
She was in the other room, wasn't she?
She
So,
was. She
yeah.
was in the other room. We'll have to wait till she gets on.
All right. I was looking down. I was trying to see. Yes, no, you're not there.
yeah, sorry about that. Because I'd seen her in the other room, I'd got it in my head that she's here.
Right. She's still in the deliberation room by the look of it, is she?
Oh, no, she's saying she thought she'd lost Councillor Foote.
No, that was us leaving the deliberation room.
Yeah.
Now we're waiting for Kenise to leave the deliberation room and sign in.
Yep.
Does she realise that?
I've just said we're in the main room. No, she's still typing. Oh, I can see them.
Oh, I can't see myself.
Oh,
Can you see me?
can't get in.
She doesn't seem to be able to get into the main meeting.
Oh dear.
Well, I've hit request to join in the hope that might do something.
Yeah, I was going to say, who's our techie today?
We have Sonia and Peter in the techie.
All right.
Hi, Councillor Foote.
Oh, hello, Peter.
Peter. Councillor Foote, I've started the live, but what we can do is cut this part at the beginning off. I can't stop it and start it. Once you start it, you have to carry on.
Yeah, that's all right. But is what we're needing to do is to get.
She's in. She's in.
She's in. Yeah, I saw it. It's disappeared again.
Yeah, no, I can see her.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, she was, and then I've got it. Yeah. You're with us, are you, Kenise?
She's on
I'm
mute.
just making a presenter. This is another thing. A producer has to get outsiders a presenter. So I've just done that. You should be able to unmute yourself now, Kenise. I've made you a presenter.
Got it.
Right. Okay. So we're all here.
Sorry, but just to quickly explain to Kenise, Chair, there's been a slight alteration in this now. And when you join as an outside person, one of the producers has to invite you to be a presenter, and it's only then that you're able to unmute yourself.
Right.
All right.
It took a considerable part of a rehearsal.
Yeah. Okay.
So before one of us, I think it was Peter, worked that out.
This is to get round the fact of the public or the presenters having to buy a license, does it?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, unfortunately, no, I see
He's
Mr.
here.
Charlie.
The applicant's
He's
here.
in. Well, in that case, we're having 100% success.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Mr. Tapperwell's been on there for a short while.
I didn't know he was there. Right, I've made Mr. Tappervali. I've made you. Oh, he's gone.
No, he's here.
Is he? I've got a phone. I've made you a presenter now, Mr. Tappervali, so you should be able to unmute yourself.
Okay.
Was that you?
I'm not able to. 1 second.
Yeah, no, we can hear you.
We're hearing you on the phone as well.
Are you able to hear me now? Hello?
Mr. Tappervali.
Yeah.
But you're on the phone, so you're getting a double voice. So
No, I cancelled the
mute
phone
your
now,
phone.
so I can see and speak here and
That's
speak.
perfect.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
perfect.
fine.
Fine.
Okay, can we kick off then?
We
Yep.
certainly can, Chair.
Yeah, we're all ready.
Yeah. We are.
Okay. Right. Right, where am I? Yeah. Okay. Right, it's now 7:30 p.m. and so I'd like to welcome you all to this virtual meeting of Hounslow's licensing panel. I would like to welcome the members of the panel who are sitting today, as well as council officers who will be assisting members throughout the meeting. In addition, I would like to welcome members of the public who are watching this meeting at home. As you may all know, councils were required by law to revert to physical meetings from the 7th of May, but following the specific government announcement regarding the current situation in Hounslow, it was decided that licensing panel meetings will be held virtually until further notice. The way this meeting will work will be that as chair, I will be running the meeting and inviting people to speak. As it is very easy for people to speak over each other in a meeting like this, I will ask each member or officer to speak in turn at the appropriate stage. This will mean that there should normally be no need for people to interrupt or to ask to speak. However, I shall make sure that all members have ample opportunity to ask questions and make comments on the reports and applications before them. The exception to this arrangement will be legal, committee or licensing officers who may turn on their microphone to alert me to any legal, government or licensing issues that need addressing, although I would expect this to be a rare occurrence. In addition, we have a producer of the meeting from our ICT department who may also contact me if necessary, but hopefully this is unlikely if all goes well, as we hope it will. The etiquette for members of the panel and for officers who are expecting to speak will be to mute your microphones until you're asked to speak. This means that only one person will be speaking at a time and there will be no background noise, making it easier for us all to follow the meeting and also for those watching at home. I will also ask members always to say who they are and when they make a contribution and to speak slowly and clearly for the same reason. We have 3 members of the licensing committee with us this evening to form this licensing panel, and it is we who will be making the decisions. Officers of the council will provide assistance and advice as required, but the final decisions will be made by members. I would now like to introduce each of the members here tonight one by one. I will start. My name is Cllr Richard Foote. I'm chair of licensing and I'm an elected member for Hamworth Ward in the London Borough of Hounslow. I'll now go to Councillor Purivel to introduce himself.
Good evening, Sundar Singh Purival. I represent Heston Central Ward and I'm a member of the panel.
Okay, and Councillor Smith.
Hello, I'm Karen Smith. I'm councillor for Hounslow South.
Right, and then I'll ask Rita if you'll introduce yourself.
Rita Pancania, Licensing Authority Officer, presenting the case this evening.
And I don't know why, but I seem to have a different legal officer down there, so I better write that in. Canice, you're the legal officer. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, good evening. I'm Canice Ali. I'm the legal advisor advising the panel this evening.
Right. Thank you all very much.
Yeah, it's Bill the clerk here. Sorry, Chair. Canice substituted for Anthony after I'd sent the.
You're just trying to catch me out. I know.
Thank you, Bill.
Right, I'm on the ball. Right. We also have officers acting in a producing role for the technical side of the meeting, but as they're not expected to be involved in the discussions of the meeting, I will thank them for their help but not ask them to introduce themselves. Right, can I just double check that you've all muted your microphones? Councillor Pullivel, I think yours is still open.
I can't see myself, so that's why I can't mute myself.
Okay, all right, let's see how we go. Right, members of the public are reminded that the agenda and all the reports being considered by the panel this evening can be found on the council website under licensing panel meetings page. So if you want to see them, that is where to look. I also want to make sure that all members have seen the agenda and reports. Please now speak if you've not had them. Right. I'd like to remind members of the need to hear all of the evidence in each report we're considering tonight. This means you should listen to the whole debate. Please don't pop out or go and walk the dog or whatever. This is a legal requirement to state and hear the whole arguments, all arguments. If you should find you're having technical problems and need to log out of the meeting and come back in again, please let me know immediately. ideally beforehand, but if not afterwards, by turning on your microphone. This would enable a permitted interruption where you can then decide how far we need to recap if that's necessary, or if the member needs not to vote on that item. I hope that the second of those won't come about. Finally, I would say to any member of the public listening or watching, thank you for joining us this evening. We hope this meeting will go well, but any virtual meetings may suffer from unexpected technical hitches, so please bear with us. I should also clarify that this meeting is being recorded and it will be made available on Council's YouTube channel in the next few days. Contributors to the meeting are asked to remember that they will therefore be included in the recording of this public meeting. So if there's anything that you're saying that you don't wish for it to appear repeated, just be careful about what you say. Thank you. We'll now move on to the first item of the agenda. This evening's application is an application for a variation of premises licence to extend the permitted hours for the sale of alcohol on and off the premises and for late night refreshments for Republic, Chiswick High Road in Turnham Green Ward. Where we need time contributions, I will ask the legal officer to alert me when allocated timings have been reached. I will also ask her to alert me to the guillotine being reached if we've not concluded the meeting by that time. May I remind all officers, members and public speakers at this meeting to introduce themselves each time they speak and also to turn off their microphones when they finish speaking. It is also important to speak slowly and clearly so that everyone can understand what you're saying. Finally, if you're making reference to any agenda documentation, please give the page and paragraph details. The process for an application with speakers is as follows. The officer to give their presentation of the application. The application will then be asked if they agree with the circumstances as described in the officer's report. Police, licensing authority and other bodies, we have a written report from the police, but I don't think well, I know the police are not here. So we will then go on to the applicant's case, and I will then invite the applicant to speak for 5 minutes in total and answer any questions from all other parties. When we come to other persons, which includes the objectors, I understand that none of those are present. So we will then be moving into the summing up after the applicant's case has been put and the questions of the applicants have been made by members. So we move into summing up. And it'll be the applicant making it, so they will be last. The panel will then leave the meeting to discuss the case and reach a decision. It will be joined by no one else except the legal officer, who's there to give advice on the law but not be a party to the decision. Once we've made the decision, we will return to this meeting and read out our decision on the application, and that will conclude the consideration of this item. We will therefore now begin the formal hearing on this case, and I will start by inviting the licensing officer to introduce the report. Rita? Is she with us?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor. Right. Members are requested to determine an application for the variation of a premises licence in respect of Republic 301-303 Chiswick High Road. The application proposes the extension of alcohol hours for on and off the premises Monday to Sunday, 10 AM to 1 o'clock, and late night refreshment Monday to Sunday, 2300 hours to 1 o'clock. The premises will remain open Monday to Sunday, 10 to 1:30. The application is attached on page 7 of the pack. There's a clarification on page 5, paragraph 6.3. It states there were 9 representations. The correction is there were 2 representations, and that those 2 people were concerned about public nuisance antisocial behaviour. Those representations are attached on page 24. The police and the applicant's agent have come to an agreement on a reduction of hours. These are included in the pack on page 32. And that's it from me, Councillor.
Okay, Rita. Can I just, as we've got the police report there, just underline that police's report is a recommendation to the panel. It's not an it doesn't instruct us. It's a recommendation which we can take, change or leave. However, now let's move on. Now I'm going to ask the applicant, do you agree the circumstances as described by the officer? Just to clarify, it's not yet time for you to put your case. It's just to get confirmation of the facts at this stage.
Thank you, Councillor. Yes, we do. Quite happy with Rita's report.
Okay, thank you. Right. So I'm confirming that there has been a written submission from the police, which is on page 33, I think, and another part on page 32. There. But they're not here to speak, so we will move on. Right. So we go, in fact, straight to the applicant's case. So I'm now, we move to the submissions from the applicants. May I ask them to state their name and address and give their reasons for their application. May I also remind you that I only speak for a total of 5 minutes overall. So it's up to you, Mr. Gibson. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I will present the application on behalf of the applicant today. My name is Stuart Gibson, owner of SG Licensing Limited, not based in London, based up in the Midlands. You've heard the application put before you this evening, and you've heard that we, after consultation with the police, agreed to amend the trading hours by reducing them Sunday to Thursday and holding on to the 1 o'clock that we requested on Friday and Saturday. And the police were quite happy with that, and as a result have not raised a representation to this application. Now, Chair, the reason for the variation is quite simple. Extending the hours as we have done, it allows the business the opportunity to perhaps offer 2 sittings in an evening. When you're closing at 11 o'clock, you really are taking last orders, if you like, inside the restaurant at 9, 9:30 at probably the latest, to allow people the opportunity and time to sit down, enjoy their meal and finish up and leave, which doesn't allow an awful lot of leeway within the business to take it on during the week till midnight, and then obviously the key days, Friday and Saturday, till 1 AM. That allows people to come in later. That allows people to sit down and spend a bit of time enjoying the fine cuisine that is on offer here, and not be rushed out of the premises very, very quickly. And it allows perhaps the tables to turn over twice in an evening, which is absolutely vital to the business. It's true that there was no other responsible authority representations. The police didn't rep it. They were just keen on getting the hours sorted out, which we agreed to. And then we had 2 objections, as you're aware. And Chair, I'm assuming you've read my submissions that I submitted a week back, which is more detail of the response we have. Today is just a very quick skimming through the main points. The objectors raised concerns regarding public nuisance in terms of noise and litter, but what they talk about is noise from the pubs. They're not talking about noise from Republic, and it's very telling that in the submissions there's no reference at all to any of the nuisance through noise coming from the restaurant. The restaurant is currently trading, albeit till 11 o'clock at the moment. They talk about noise from the pubs. Well, it's a different clientele that's using the pubs purely to go and have a drink, which is nothing wrong with that, as opposed to a food-led business that this is, where people come to eat and alcohol is supplementary to the food experience. They also talk about litter, Chair, and they provide evidence and they provide photographs of empty bottles of whatever it is, gin or vodka or whatever. Well, that's not coming from the restaurant. Looking at that, it seems to me that's coming from the off sales in the area. So again, very difficult to hang that purely at the door of Republic. And as we know that representations, it needs to be evidence-based and need to link the premises to the problem that potentially has been highlighted, and none of this actually does. We talk about music noise. Well, we haven't applied for regulated entertainment beyond 11 o'clock, so there can't be any new music noise. We've not asked for it. The one thing I would pick up on from the representations, and I think it's very valid, they talk about emptying bins late in the evening. And that is a valid rep. I fully understand that. And we would like to offer an additional condition here this evening, should you be minded to grant the application, that no bins will be emptied between 11 p.m. in the evening and 8 a.m. the following morning. Because the last thing you would want if you were living upstairs is at 1 o'clock, 1:15 in the morning, the clunking of empty bottles going into a big plastic biffa bin. That is quite disturbing. So nothing between 2300 and 0800 the following morning. We would happily ask you to accept that as a condition to be added to the licence should you grant it. In terms of the rest of the representations, there's not too much for us to consider. A gentleman unfortunately had his bike stolen, but that again can be not harboured back to the restaurant. But the one thing I would like to just mention, that we did submit in advance sample menus, well, not sample menus, the actual menus for food and drink for the premises. And I think I likened it in my submissions to, this is not a burger and chips and a free drink establishment. You have to have a little bit behind you, shall we say, to go in there and enjoy the cuisine for a few hours. The prices are reassuringly expensive, as I think one of the adverts many years ago used to say. And the reason I mention that, Chair, is simply because it doesn't attract the type of crowd that the objectors are concerned about. That's not the target market. That's not what the applicant wants in his restaurant. And it's all very easy to say, well, if they've got the money, they'll get. It's not what he wants, because by taking in the wrong crowd, you as a member of a potential customer might look at that and say, oh, I don't want to go in there because look who's in there. It's a rowdy lot. That's not what we want. And that's not the type of business he's trying to create. He's trying to create a very relaxed, high-class restaurant with fine food, fine drink to supplement it, and allow people the opportunity to enjoy each other's company in a relaxed atmosphere and not have to be subjected to this kind of behaviour that the objectors would have you believe. It's not Republic's type of business. They're totally different to that. The applicant said to me a while ago, you're looking at £60–70 per person in terms of what they're spending on an evening when they come in for food. So again, the young gentleman, shall we say, who would like to go out and have 7, 8, 9 pints on an evening, Republic is not for them. That's not where they're going to find their solace for that particular evening. So I think I'm very aware of the 5-minute thing, Chair, and I think with my submissions that I've submitted in advance and just the brief synopsis of going through things today, I think we get the picture. This is a fairly high-class restaurant. They're looking to extend their hours to allow them the opportunity to make the most of the business, maybe turn the tables over twice, maybe, or more to the point, maybe a party of so many people, allowing them to stay a little bit longer, enjoy the company, maybe have a brandy after their meal or whatever, and just enjoy the evening and not be rushed out very, very quickly. It will make a huge difference to the business. I think Republic adds to the high street. And I would ask that you look favourably upon this application this evening, Chair, and grant, as we have asked, as the amended application before you, which is the reduced hours and the added condition that I've offered here this evening. I would ask that you grant the application. I'm here to take any questions. As you know, the applicant is here to take any specific questions as well. We'd be happy between us to assist anything you may want to ask. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson. Right, I'll start on questions from the panel members. Can I start with Councillor Pullivel? Have you any questions of either Mr. Gibson or Mr. Tapovali? You're muted, Surinder. You're muted. Can you unmute yourself? I can see your lips moving, but you're still muted. You're still muted, Councillor. Peter, is it possible to for you to intervene and unmute, Councillor Purival.
Just trying to unmute now.
Yes, still muted.
Not able to do it from this end. She'll have to do it from her end.
Okay. Surinder, look, I'm going to ask Councillor Smith to come in now, and if you can, in the meantime, continue to try and unmute your laptop. But I'll get Councillor Smith to ask any questions. Karen.
Hi. Okay, I've got a few minor questions. I know you haven't been opened very long, but I'm assuming that you haven't had any complaints from residents about the noise, either officially or unofficially. And I don't know if you know if the previous restaurant had any complaints either. If you do, that just be useful to know. So you're not having any music after, was it 11 o'clock? And the other thing I'd like to know is, could you explain the plan a bit, because it was very hard to see the one in the diagrams. You've got 2 floors, you've got a room upstairs. So do you have music there at all? Or just if you could just sort of explain it a bit to us, because it was very hard to read what was written on it. And yeah, the only other thing I'd like to know, and then I'll shut up, is there's an alleyway around the side and the back. Do you use that at all? Because I noticed there are doors going out. I'm not thinking of emptying bins or anything, but while you're in the restaurant, do you use that alleyway? Because I was just thinking that that might deter people from hanging around drinking if there were people using it sort of regularly, coming and going. I don't know. Just, yeah.
Thank you, Councillor. I'll start this off and then pass on to Mushtaq, if I could, for more of the specific questions you've asked. To the best of my knowledge, and I think I'm 100% right here, he's had absolutely no problems since they have been trading, none whatsoever. He would be more able to advise on if he was aware of any previous problems with the previous owners. I can't honestly comment on that. The reason I wanted to jump in quickly in terms of the music, what we are saying, we have not applied for regulated entertainment. What the restaurant has and would have is background music, which has no definition in the Licensing Act. It's not defined in the Act as, and it's not entertainment. It could be somebody playing a Spotify whatever in the background as ambient type music. It's not a music-led business, because that would defeat the purpose of what the business is trying to create. It's just create the atmosphere, create the mood to allow people to, and you wouldn't want the music loud enough so people couldn't talk. You'd have to talk over the music. It's just there in the background. But it was to give reassurance to say that come 11 o'clock, we're not trying to turn this into a dance venue or so forth, and the DJ gets out and starts doing whatever DJs do these days. It's purely just sort of background music that would be on the premises, just to create that sort of that ambient feel. If I could pass on to Mushtaq now, just to take on your other points, he could answer better than I could on that. Mushtaq, if you could.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm just going to mention, as you asked for the music, as Mr. Gibson has said, you know, the music is only to let people enjoy the meal and the drinks, not to have a dance floor or a bar or a pub. It's just to enjoy. So if we're gonna play the music on Spotify, as Mr. Gibson says, not a DJ there or a live music. And as we mentioned about the 2 floors, so basically there is ground floor and basement. Ground floor we have 40 covers, and basement we will have 40 covers, where people will come in to dine in, and the menus goes in a way where you have small plates, larger plates. So you know you need to spend per table 2.5 hours to 3 hours to enjoy the meal. So that is one of the main reasons we wanted to extend, and not to have the drinks late night, or you know, to create problems for the neighbors. And one of the main reason, you know, all our neighbors on the back area, they are our regular customers. So they are very much happy for it, and we are being there. So they have actually, when they saw we opening, we were going to open late, so they can come in after work, have some good meal, have a drink, and go back to homes. So that was one of the main reason. And then alleyway, we don't use the alleyway because this is only to go on the back door of our restaurant. It's like a fire exit area, so we don't use the alleyway at all. We use the main entrance of the restaurant. And as we mentioned about the bins clearing out, our bins clear out at 2 in the afternoon, not in the evening time. So that is, clarify everything.
Thank you.
Right, Councillor Purivel, are you able to communicate at all? No, not unless we're into lip reading.
Right. Chair, it's Bill here. It's a long shot, but it's on the assumption that Councillor Purivel is unable to unmute. Oh, there he is. Right. No.
Yeah.
Right.
Do it.
There we are.
Sorry about this. The question I wanted to ask has been asked. The only other question I have is about the clearing at the end. You were saying that they won't do later on, but it can be put as a condition that they won't re-rattle the bottles quite late at night. Would be happy with the condition?
Thank you, Councillor. Yes, we'd be happy to have that as a condition, and I think it's wise to have it as a condition, because otherwise, if it's just an undertaking, perhaps that's verbally given at this hearing, 6 months down the road, that could be forgotten, and there's nothing that could be sort of come back on that. But as the applicant has said, the bins get emptied at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. What we're talking that's obviously good news, but what we're talking about is that the premises don't come out and empty from the bar and into the bins at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, because that's going to wake the neighbours up. So I think it'd be wise to have that conditioned on the licence, because that then gives some comfort to the residents that it is a condition of the licence, just like all the other conditions are there, and it gives them some sort of protection, if you like, going forward.
Thank you. That's all I had.
Okay, can I right, comes to me. Can I just, I'm trying to make sense of the drawings that are on the, well, it's on the previous premises licence, but the first one on Annex 4, is that the ground floor? Because it looks like the first floor is bigger than the ground floor, so I'm not quite sure which way round it is.
Ushtaq, could you assist?
So the ground floor is where the kitchen is located, and the basement where we will have the full dining setting, offices, toilets, and the fire exit area from the back.
Oh, I see. So that kitchen is on Annex 4.
Yeah, it's
up to the page. Then you've got toilets, etc. at the back. Okay, right. That's clear. Now I'm just trying to identify CCTV cameras. It's very small, this. So one thing I'm trying to see, and I can't see one, so perhaps you could tell me, but on your exit and entrance from the premises, do you have a CCTV camera that faces people leaving the premises, so there's a full facial?
Yes, Mr. Councillor, we have entrance and exit both CCTV.
And you get a full facial of someone leaving?
Yes.
That's good. I'm surprised that, as you were talking with PC Pello, that he didn't mention that, because it's usually one of his favourites. Right, okay. Let me just try and get back to my notes. So I just want to clarify that the hours we're talking about, the secondary lot from PC that were agreed with PC Pello, that are being recommended by him, is Sunday to Thursday for alcohol sales, midnight. Friday, Saturday, 0100 for the food late night food. Sunday to Thursday 2400, and Friday and Saturday 0100. Now there, on your original application, there was an extra half an hour for closing up. Is that still required? So do we have closing times that are plus half an hour, 30 minutes on these hours?
Yes, Chair. That was in, I think, in somewhere in the submission, in the notes was a letter of or an email of confirmation from myself to BC Fellow saying 30 minutes drinking up time and eating up time. That allows people to leave quietly without rush. The last thing you want to do in any high street is turf everybody out onto the street in one go. That's just a recipe for any kind of problem that you may arise. So it allows people to leave at their own time. Not everyone's going to stay for that extra half hour. Some people we've gone within 5 minutes, others 10, 15, and it's a gradual dispersal. And
it's just that there was in your letter on the 10th of May to Steve Pellow, it doesn't include closing times. So if we're going to put it in, we need to know what it is. So that's what I'm saying. I'm assuming that it is the same as it was, plus 30 minutes on the original timings. So it would now read, the closing would read Sunday to Thursday, 24:30 or 00:30. Get it correct. And for Friday and Saturday, 01:30. Yeah.
That's correct, Chair.
So they would be closing hours. So we make sure that gets included in the context.
Thank you.
Okay, right. I don't think I have any other questions. No, I haven't got any other questions. Councillor Smith, do you have any follow-ups that you want to ask?
I don't, thank you.
Councillor Purivel, do you have any follow-ups?
No, I don't.
You don't. Okay, right. So we've now reached the point where we would normally ask for summing up. So there isn't, I'm not going to invite the police or the licensing authority, relevant authority or other persons. That only leaves for the applicants to sum up. If you could please, if you could just sum up, but don't introduce new material. But I think that probably there's not really a great deal to sum up on really when there hasn't been other applicants on there. So yeah, please, could you use the time to sum up?
Thank you, Chair. I don't propose to take up much of your time at all. You've heard the application before you today. I think we've explained the change in hours, and we've obviously agreed the closing time being 30 minutes beyond. You have before you here a very responsible retailer. You have a guy here that's trying to run a very respectable business, and he's trying to run it in the best way he possibly can. Hence, we're asking for the extended hours. I think you've heard today, not only in the submissions from both myself and from the applicant, and also my written submissions that you received before the hearing, you have a business here that I think is going to be a great benefit to Chiswick, and I would ask that you grant the application. I don't think there's much more I can say.
Right, thank you, Mr. Gibson. Right, okay, do you want to clarify the procedures that we'll be using this evening?
Yes, Councillor Foote. So the panel will now retire and go into the deliberation room to consider the application and the representations and submissions that have been made this evening. The panel, in terms of procedure, the panel has the option to either grant the application or grant in part or in full, subject to standard condition with extra conditions. And the third option is to refuse the application. During the deliberation, only panel members will be present, with myself as the legal advisor. I will not be taking part in the decision making, but will be there to advise the panel only. Chair, we usually say to those attending the panel hearing today that we normally have 15 minutes, and that if it takes longer, that this will be conveyed by our support team to so that they are aware.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Then are we ready then to go? And if you could remain, Mr. Gibson and Mr. Taboali, that would help us when we come back, and then we can let you know what the decision would be. Okay. So, Councillor Smith, Councillor Pulleyville, and
Yep.
Candidates, we'll go on to the other room, as we called it, the virtual room.
I'm here.
No,
Yeah.
is deliberation finished?
Yes, yes.
You're on mute, Richard.
Hi, Councillor Foote, you're on mute.
Approved. Is Kenise with us?
Oh, hello, Councillor. She's just asked for the link to be sent again. I think she's struggling to get into this room. I'm
Okay.
just doing it now.
Okay, right. We'll give her a couple of minutes. Right, she's in the lobby. Right. You're with us, Kenise, right?
I am. Thank you.
Good, 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 good. Right. If we can continue then. Right, the panel have deliberated upon the evidence put forward earlier this evening, and we are prepared to grant the licence to the hours that are shown as the ones in Appendix D. So I need to clarify that. So these are the hours in Appendix D that was shown, and I'll repeat what it is. This is the closing hours: Sunday to Thursday for alcohol 2400, Friday, Saturday alcohol 0100, for late night refreshments Sunday to Thursday 2400, Friday to Saturday 0100, with a 30-minute closing time beyond those hours. And I think the opening time was 10 AM, but I think we need to put that in there as well. So that will appear as in there. We need to add the condition about the emptying of bins, or not emptying the bins, between 2300 and 0800 on a daily basis, that they be kept 2 hours outside those hours. I'm giving you a précis of what's been agreed. Kenise, our legal officer, will be writing to you within 5 working days with the full agreement. I have to say that if there is any appeals, then they need to be made to the Magistrates Court within 21 days. So anybody that may wish to appeal. Other than that, I think that is all. Am I finished, Kenise, or is there anything I should be adding?
There's nothing else to add, Councillor Foote. That's you've covered all of the points.
Okay, right. On those grounds, then, I say thank you very much for your attendance, and have a nice evening. I might even see some of the second half of the England match. So anyway, thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy your evening. Look after yourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Good evening.
Councillor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, councillors.
Right.
Special thanks to councillors Smith and Pureval for stepping in.